How the pyramids were built and the materials that were used. The pyramids are located in Giza in the Republic of Egypt, and their construction dates back to the period 2550 to 2459 BC. What distinguishes the pyramids more is the many materials that were used in their construction, such as limestone, pink granite, basalt and clay bricks, and these materials were used for the first time on a large scale in construction. The construction of the pyramids was done in several steps, the first of which was the use of appropriate and durable materials, and the materials used are as follows. Limestone. The soft white limestone formed the bulk of the pyramids, as these stones were used to build the heart of the pyramid and as the main material for the outer shell. And it was difficult to extract this stone near the pyramids. So these stones were transported from the areas of the west bank of the Nile River. And some limestone extraction pits were about 48 meters deep. Pink granite. Pink granite was used with limestone to cover the inner cover and heart of the pyramids. And its abundance was very few. So it was transferred to the pyramids' construction areas from the Aswan region and the southern regions of Egypt. Alabaster. Basalt was used to cover the floor of the pyramid, and basalt stone was transported to construction sites by the Nile River, and extracted from underground deposits and pits, especially from the caves of the ancient Oligocene. Clay bricks are the most common and used material in all buildings of Egypt, and in the pyramids it was used to build walls, directing convection ovens on them to last for a long time after their formation. Tools that were used in the construction of the pyramids. The Egyptian pyramids are one of the prominent architectural landmarks in the ancient and modern world. And in their construction and the transportation of raw materials, many tools were used, most notably the following. Clay molds were formed to facilitate the transport of materials across the Nile River to construction sites. Axes. Used axes to break stones and their edges. Iron chisels. Chisels were used to form stones. Granite hammers were used to crush granite stones. Dolerite. Rock hammers are hard hammers used to break and shape solid parts of limestone. Hovels were used to dig and excavate stones, and were used to form stones. Ropes were used to lift building materials and raw materials when extracted. The precise engineering method in which the pyramids were built. The pyramids were built with great accuracy by ancient Egyptian engineers, and they used all advanced astronomical, logistical, engineering and mathematical sciences in building these pyramids. And the most prominent engineering methods and methods used by the pharaohs and ancient Egyptians in building the pyramids were as follows. Development of ancient mechanical tools. The most prominent tools that have been developed is the dimensional measuring crane, which measures and determines the dimensions of the pyramid more accurately, at angles of exactly 90 degrees. Examples of architecture are the Saqqara pyramid, built in 2620 BC, whose platforms were built gradually as the first use of these gradient shapes called terraces. Arched ceilings in underground built rooms. The exterior is sloping to protect these pyramids from attacks. The pyramids are built on a solid rock that supports the structure and foundations. Use accurate vertical measurements to determine the shape of a pyramid. Place the building block of the pyramid inside it, not in the ground. Properly distribute the loads by horizontal construction of the pyramids. Distribute the blocks of stones, placing the huge ones at the bottom, and the small ones at the top. Determine the angles of the pyramid accurately, which saved effort and reduced the need for labor. Refine white limestone to make it visible from a wide distance. The method of building the pyramids and hypotheses. The pyramids were built in an unclear way, and not all their features have been discovered so far. Although there are many murals and drawings that were discovered during the excavation inside the pyramids. And from these drawings and murals next to the information found, many theories were developed about the construction of the pyramids, most notably the following. Building pyramids from stone blocks. The ancient Egyptians needed huge amounts of stones to build the pyramids, and because of this need the oldest theories of building the pyramids appeared, namely stone blocks. And to bring these stone blocks, a large number of workers were used to transport stones, and a large number of tools such as chisels and brass saws cutting stones. Large and huge blocks of stones were transported using the surface of the water, as it was used as a way to facilitate the transport of stones, as well as the use of simple tools in the formation of stones such as wooden planes and angle measuring threads. According to archaeologist Charlene Booth in her book The Pyramids Within Giza, Building Pyramids with Different Types of Slopes. The theory of building pyramids with different types of slopes was developed due to the shape of the Pyramid of Cheops very high, and this theory was further clarified in the book The Great Pyramid of the Scientist A. Bushin. The pyramids were built on several angles and facets. For example, there is a slope of each of its faces is approximately 14 to 11. And the measure of the slope of each edge is close to 9 to 10. The goal of the different angles is to build pyramids whose shape is dominated by the edges. And it is believed that this is the main goal of the architects. And therefore placing blocks of stones in the form of different angles leads to the creation of slopes of different height and shape. And these slopes give the pyramids their graduated shape. The hypothesis of the internal slope. The French architect Jean-Pierre Houdin referred to his discovery of the secret of building the pyramids, and he developed a hypothesis called the internal slope, which are slopes built from below, from which the entire pyramid was completed. According to the theory, the lower third of the pyramid raised the stone blocks to build it through an external slope. But this external slope was short and did not reach the top to complete the construction of the rest of the pyramid, and it was made of limestone. So another ramp was built inside the pyramid, through which the stone blocks of the upper thirds of the pyramid were transferred. According to Houdin, the inner ramp starts at the bottom, estimated to be 182 centimeters wide, and this ramp was laid after the construction of the lower third of the pyramid was completed, at which time the outer ramp achieved its purpose. The hypothesis of limestone concrete. The French materials scientist Joseph Davidovits launched in the 80s of the last century a different hypothesis about the construction of the pyramids, and said that the Egyptians did not transfer the limestone blocks one by one from the places of their discovery to the sites of the pyramids. Stone blocks are not only carved and formed stone blocks, but they are blocks formed by pouring melted concrete from limestone with wooden molds, adding clay, water, lime and some powders, and then leaving the water to evaporate, to form a clay-like mixture called geopolymeric concrete. And this concrete was used to form the structure of the pyramids. The NOVA experiment to build the pyramids. Roger Hopkins, with the participation of the Harvard High Museum and Mark Lehner, an archaeologist at the Oriental Institute of the University of Chicago, conducted an experiment to build a pyramid funded by Merck International. And the experiment aimed to apply the practical construction of the Giza pyramids, in which it is believed that at least 100 men participated in 3 shifts that do not stop all day. The NOVA experience described an accurate depiction of the working conditions that workers suffered until they built the pyramids in the past. So the NOVA pyramid was built according to the following steps. The first step: 12 men extracted 186 stones in 21 days. And with practical calculations, 1,200 men can extract 340 stones per day. So the conclusion from the first step was that workers in the past brought about 60,000 tons of granite stones to build one pyramid, i.e., about 340 stones per day. Step 2: 12 men were able to pull 1.5 tons of stones on a smooth surface, meaning that this number, perhaps more, could have pulled a ton of stones in one day. In conclusion, the pyramids are considered one of the greatest buildings built in human history, and the greatest in ancient history, especially the 3 famous pyramids of Giza.